So I remember in middle school, we had to do this thing in gym class called the mile run. So pretty much they would make us like every single year. Like this, I think would happen like once or twice a year where they would make us run a mile. And a mile is obviously just 4 laps, right? It's nothing crazy. But to me, this would always get me nervous having to run a full on mile because to me, a mile was pretty much like a fucking marathon. So I would get always super nervous about the mile run. And I remember I would get so fucking nervous and shit like that. And this was during 8th grade. I didn't work out at all. I didn't do shit. I remember, I think in the morning, I ate a bunch of cereal. I think I ate like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And I had like the mile run to do in like a good 2 hours, which yeah, like obviously running with fucking Cinnamon Toast Crunch in your stomach is probably going to get you a heart attack. But fuck it, right? I was just like, I was what, like 12, 13, all I really gave a fuck about back then was playing Minecraft, my fucking Wii still. I was like, what? Bro, it was like what, like 2017, 2018, and I was still grinding on the Wii. I was still like playing Mario Kart online, bro. Like, fuck me, bro. I don't know. I was just different back then. But anyway, yeah, we had that mile run. So pretty much, I remember the coach lined us all up. We had all like line up together. And I remember the mile run starts. And I remember trying to like impress people. I remember just sprinting right away. Right away. I was actually like in front of people. I sprinted right away in front of people. And I was like pretty much just flexing. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was only in front of these people for like what, a minute or two before I already started to fucking gas out. And then I started to pretty much just run like a slog. I was running extremely slow, I was jogging extremely slow. And yeah, I was just going extremely slow. People started to lap me. I felt like complete shit. And I remember most people during the 4th lap finished. Well, it was like me and a couple people that still hadn't finished. I was just slow as fuck, bro. And I felt like shit. My stomach was hurting. I was pretty much like farting while I was running. And I was pretty much dying. So yeah, that was pretty much like what we had to do back in middle school, where they would pretty much just make us take a run for a mile. And I remember, I think my time was like 9 minutes. It was like 9 something, bro. That's how slow I fucking was. That's how unathletic I was. I was unathletic and I was fat as fuck. But flash forward, I would say 6 years later, and the best shape that I've been in was back, I would say in May, June, when I built myself to run up to 5 miles. I had like a kickboxing fight during the time, and I wanted to be in as good as shape for it as possible. And I remember building myself up from like, I think 2 miles to 3 miles to 4 miles, and then finally to 5 miles. So the most that I've ever ran was 5 miles. And obviously to a lot of track people, to probably other people, this is not impressive at all. But for me, this was very impressive because for most of my life, I've been out of shape. I've been unathletic. My cardio has always been shit. I remember in wrestling, my cardio was absolutely terrible. I remember this one wrestling match, like during the 3rd round, I was so exhausted to the point where I just gave my back to my opponent and I like nearly got fucking pinned. I ended up winning that match. I remember my coach right away brought the fucking garbage can because he thought I was going to throw up. I didn't throw up, but I was so fucking gassed. My stomach was absolutely killing me. So for most of my life, I've had absolutely dog shit cardio. But yeah, over time, I built really good cardio to the point where I wasn't really getting as tired during kickboxing class or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I just felt amazing, dude. So let me just explain to you sort of what I did to really build up my cardio. So the first thing that I did was just come to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class as often as possible. I was coming like 4 or 5 days a week, rolling, doing live rounds and stuff like that. And when it comes to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like that shit really kills you. Like that shit really gets you tired, and it really helps to build up your cardio and endurance. So I was just doing a bunch of that. I was doing a bunch of live rounds, and it's one of the easiest ways to just build up your cardio because just doing rounds in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's a lot of fun compared to yourself just running alone on the track and just being bored out your mind. But with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's just fun, right? Like I love doing live rounds. So for me, I would just do a bunch of them like 4 or 5 days a week on top of obviously training like boxing and kickboxing. So that really fucking helped me out. That really helped me build my cardio. So I think that's the first thing that you can do to really build up your cardio, is to just do as many Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes as possible. Second thing that I did was hit the Stairmasters 2 to 3 days a week. The Stairmasters is like the best equipment at the gym. I prefer it 10 times more than the treadmill. When I run on the treadmill, I don't get nearly as tired as I do on the Stairmasters, especially if you do some sort of circuit. So I do some sort of circuit on the Stairmasters for 20 minutes, and every time I do it, I nearly die, bro. And I was doing that like 2-3 days a week, and that's how I was able to really build my cardio up too. So that's something I would really do as well. Like, if you really want high cardio, like high cardio, do the fucking Stairmasters. Don't go on the fucking treadmill. Just do the Stairmasters and try to do it like 2-3 times a week. Now, the last thing that I did to really build up my cardio was just run at the track 1 to 2 days a week. And every time I would run on the track, I would build up by a couple laps. So for example, I think I started off with just 2 miles. So I went from 2 miles to 2.5 miles. And then from 2.5 miles to 3 miles. So from 10 laps to 12 laps. And then from 12 laps to 14 laps. And I just kept doing that. I kept adding the amount of time or the amount of distance I ran by like 2 laps until I built myself up to 5 miles. Because that's what my coach told me. He told me like, yo, if you want really good cardio for this fight, if you don't want to get out of shape, to try to build yourself up to 5 miles. So that's pretty much what I did. So yeah, these are all the 3 things that I really did to really build my cardio up. And yeah, I would say during that time, like May, June, I was like probably in the best shape of my life, bro. Like I had high ass cardio, and cardio is something that's not enjoyable. You know, it's not the most fun in the world, but I mean, it's just so beneficial, especially if you're taking up MMA fights, or if you just want good cardio in practice in general. This is really how you build up your cardio. Now, one of the most important things when it comes to martial arts is mindset. If you don't have a good mindset, at the end of the day, you're fucked. So that's why I built this course designed for martial artists to like looking to dominate in competition with a good mindset. So check it out. First link in the description below. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to subscribe, and remember, my boys, stay active, stay busy, and most of all, stay hungry.